Hi everybody, it's Nikki here and welcome to a makeup video. It is makeup inventory time. Yes, that time of the year where I count up every item in my makeup collection and I tell myself how stupid I am to have got a collection this big when I don't wear makeup every day. Now, I do my makeup inventory every 6 months because I'm crazy and stupid and I like a challenge, but also because doing it every 6 months, that 6-month checkup midway through the year helps me to do one of two things. It either makes me go, whoa, steady there on the makeup purchases, you're buying too much, your numbers have gone up, or yay, you're doing really well on your project pans because your numbers are going down. And so it motivates me to either calm down on my spending or continue on project pans that I'm maybe starting to wane in my enthusiasm for. It kind of builds that enthusiasm back up again because I'm boosting myself with the knowledge that it's working. And so that's why I do that 6-month check-in. Do I need to do a 6-month check-in? No, probably not. Maybe once a year is more than enough. But for me, it helps me midway through the year to see yay or boo. So yeah, that is why I do it every 6 months. So I did want to take pictures. However, with my leg being currently in the space boot thing, I feel like I'm saving up for a skiing trip and I've only managed to save for one boot so far. But it is pretty awkward to maneuver around to try and photo all my collection, so I will do a makeup collection video when I'm better and I have better maneuverability. I promise you that will be coming. So let's get straight into the numbers instead. So back in June 2021 I had 5 primers and I currently have 4. I did manage to finally use up 1 primer. Primers take awfully long time for me to use up. And I really don't need 4. I think one of those is nearly finished. So hopefully I will have 3 very soon. I'd be quite happy with 2 actually. I have my MAC Prep and Prime primer that I absolutely love. And then I have an e.l.f. one which I haven't tried yet. So those are the 2 that I really want to keep in my collection. The third one that I have is a colour correcting one from Revolution, and I'd like to get that used up in 2022. For foundations, in June I had 7 and I still have 7. I did use up a foundation, however I bought a new foundation as well. I have found my new favourite. It is this, the number 7 Hydra Luminous Aqua Release Skin Perfector Tinted Moisturiser 8-hour hydration, that's a lot of H's, light coverage. So it's a tinted moisturizer and it makes my skin look perfect. I think I would prefer to use this when I'm out and about shopping in town, but I have a couple of full coverage or medium to full coverage foundations that I would like to get used up this year because my skin, my aging skin, just can't carry a full cover foundation anymore. But I will continue to use those when I'm filming because it's better to use it for filming. And I will use the tinted moisturiser when I go out shopping and things like that. So yeah, I still have 7, but I would like to get that down. Concealers, in June I had 6 with 4 colour correctors. I now have 5 concealers with the 4 colour correctors. However, I am showing you some bits, I suppose. The colour correcting palette I have is this, so there are 4 here, but the only one I'm actually using is the peach. As you can see, I've hit pan on it. I sometimes use the green, but really I could just use that green primer. It's not a green primer, but it's a colour correcting primer if I really need to. The 2 bottom ones I don't use. So I think once I finish this peach one, I'm probably going to declutter this palette and then just purchase a peach colour corrector on its own in the future because that's the only one that I use, and I use it under my eyes because I have bags under my eyes. It's just a thing. Okay, so In June I had 8 setting powders and I now currently have 6, so I managed to use 2 up, which I'm very happy about. In June I had 23 blushes and I now have 21. That's not because I used them up, it is because I decluttered 2. Bronzers, I had 12 in June and I still have 12. I do have a bronzer palette which I really want to work on in 2022 because I figure if I can work on that bronzer palette, then that would reduce my numbers by a lot, because there's like, I think there's 6 bronzers in the palette. 2 of the shades, well, there's 8 bronzers in the palette, but 2 of the shades are light enough that I can use them as setting powders. But the other 6 I would definitely have to use as bronzers. So there's only 6 pans in there that I count towards my bronzer collection. So yeah, 12 bronzers, still more than enough. They last me a year to 2 years. So I have bronzer for the next 12 years, basically. Possibly even 24 years. Wow, that's a lot of bronzer. I've just realised that. That realisation just hit me like a ton of bricks. I feel like crying. Highlighters, even worse. Barely finished a highlighter in the last 3 years. I had 27 in June and I now only have 13. I cut this down so bloody much in my declutter because I just had to be honest with myself. I really had to be honest with myself. What in my collection would I honestly, truthfully use? And I decided to get rid of the Soph X highlighter palette. It's a nice palette, but there are some shades in there I was just never going to turn to. And so I decided to declutter it, pass it on to someone. And so that got rid of 8 straight away. And then I decluttered some single highlighters as well. So yeah, that number pretty much cut in half from 27 to 13, and I couldn't be happier. 13 is still a lot of highlighter, still going to be working on those for the next 20 years, but you know, we're okay. In 20 years I'm going to be 60. Do I really want highlighters when I'm 60? Anyway, lip liners. In June I had 9 and I currently have 7. I think I decluttered 1 because it was very, very dry, but I have used up 1. I think I used up 1. I think I did. So that was 1 used and 1 decluttered. Lipsticks and lip crayons, I had 36 and 9 Urban Decay samples. Now I have 33 lipsticks and I have 8 MAC samples. I did declutter a couple of lipsticks that I just knew I was never going to wear them. There was a couple of shades that I had like dupes for and I knew which one I would prefer to wear over the other one, so I got rid of the dupe. So it didn't decrease by a lot, but it definitely has streamlined my collection. The liquid lipsticks, I had 15 in June and I now have 7, and the reason for that was I swatched and smelled them all when I was counting, and half of them had gone bad. They smelled so chemically bad, it made me feel quite sick actually. And I wouldn't care, but 2 of those were my Sephora lip stains that I bought on my honeymoon, and that was 4 years ago. So I'm bummed that I didn't get more use out of them, but I'm glad I got some use out of them. I did wear them a handful of times, yes, but I did wear them. It's not like they never got worn and they've had to be thrown out because they started to smell bad. So that has kind of made me go, right, no more liquid lipsticks. And if you are going to buy more liquid lipsticks, buy minis so that you can use them a lot quicker, because full-size ones, just no, I'm never going to finish them. So that was a definite eye-opener for me. So I've gone from 15 to 7 liquid lipsticks. and I'm happy with that. Lip glosses. I had 7 in June and I still have 7. I never used to like lip gloss, but in 2021 I discovered that I actually do like lip gloss now. My tastes have changed from when I was younger. And I really like the MAC lip glosses, the lip glasses as they're called. I really like them. I love the formula. I got some for Christmas as well. And yeah, I'm quite happy to continue to use those. Lip balms and lip scrubs, I had 10 in June and I now have 7. I did manage to use a couple up in 2021. I am trying not to purchase any more lip balms, although I have turned to lip glosses for the way that I used to turn to lip balms. So I'm not going through them as quickly as I used to, my lip balms, but I'm gonna try and use up the 7 that I have now. So that's that. Brows, I had 6 in June and I now have 4. I did declutter a brow powder and I used up a brow gel. Well, I didn't use it up, it broke. But that was the 2 that have gone out of my collection. I have discovered that I don't like brow pencils. They are too harsh on my brows and they tend to pull out my brow hairs. And they last me for so bloody long. I get so bored of using it all the time. I much prefer applying a brown eyeshadow, I know, stay with me, on my brows. And I have plenty of bright brown eyeshadows in my collection that I could be using on my brows. So from now on, I won't be purchasing any brow products. Possibly I might have a brow gel in my collection, but that is all. I am not buying any more specific brow products apart from a brow gel because I am just going to use my brown eyeshadows, which I have plenty of. So that is that. Eyeliners, and these include glitter eyeliners. I had 18 eyeliners in June. This is a problem area for me. Why do I have 18? I now have 14. I did declutter a couple, but I also used up a couple. So yeah, and that's already gone down because as of filming, I've already finished 2 eyeliners because they were literally nubbins by the end of the year, but I still counted them because there was still product left in them. So I counted them in my makeup inventory, but I've already finished those 2 eyeliners already. So that number has already gone down by 2. So good news. For mascaras, I had 6 in June and I now have 5. It was the end of the year, so I decluttered my mascara that I was using and I'm using a new one because I try and use one mascara or 2 mascaras sometimes every year, and then once it comes to the end of the year, I declutter it. No matter what, I figure if it's been open for a year, then it's time to declutter it. I don't want to keep using a mascara that I've had for maybe 2 years open. So yeah, that number is going to go down 1 or 2 every year because of the way that I use them. So yeah, from 6 to 5 in mascaras. For glitters and pigments, so anything that's loose, eyeshadows, I had 5 in June and I now have 4. That number will have gone up because of the couple of loose pigments that I got in my advent calendar, which, by the way, I took these makeup inventory numbers before I did my advent calendar, so just to be aware of that. I decluttered a loose pigment that I'd got in a Birchbox or something many years ago. I had to be truthful and honest with myself. I was never going to use it. It was bright white. It was just not something I was ever going to use, so I got rid of it. For cream, stick or liquid eyeshadows, I had 33, and this was a similar thing to my liquid lipsticks. Some of those liquid eyeshadows had gone bad. There was two Barry M toppers that I had that were like a glitter topper, and when I went to swatch it, it was just all watery, and I was like, oh, I'll give it a shake. Swatched it again, it was still watery, so I was like, yep, nope, that's gone. They're both gone. So I had 33 cream, stick or liquid eyeshadows in June, and I now have 24. So that has gone down a lot. And the majority of those are my cream eyeshadows, which are mainly my Super Shock eyeshadows and my Maybelline Colour Tattoos. And one of those I'm nearly finished with anyway. So that should be in my empties very soon anyway. Okay, here's a number you've all been waiting for. My eyeshadow pans. So I am crazy, I might have mentioned this already. I count every single eyeshadow pan. I don't think, oh, I have this many singles, I have this many duos, I have this many trios, I have this many 12 pan palettes, I have this many 16 pan palettes. I just count every single eyeshadow as a single pan. Here's where I'm proudest, because here's where I did declutter quite a few palettes. So my numbers have gone down, but they're still extortionately high. In June, I had 816 pans of eyeshadow. 816. I now have 662. So that's gone down about 150 eyeshadows. That was just in a couple of palettes. I didn't actually declutter that many palettes. I think it was in maybe 5, maybe 6 palettes and a couple of singles maybe, but it wasn't a lot. And it just proved to me how quickly your eyeshadow collection can grow in just a few palettes. It's crazy. It's absolutely crazy. In June, I had 28 pans that had hit pan on them, so that was showing pan in them. But now I have 30 that were showing pan in them. That number might have gone up, but it might have changed also because of the palettes that I decluttered. Some of them might have had pan in them. I had my Pan That palette in 2021, which I was quite successful at. Didn't quite succeed the way I wanted to, but I was quite successful in it. So that number of pans that have hit pan in them can fluctuate, but it's not enough that I could say, oh, I'm definitely using my collection, because 30 pans that have hit pan in them out of 662 eyeshadows, that's pretty poor, actually. That's not even 10%. So, you know, it's not even 1%. So, you know, it's atrocious. I need to use my collection more. The palettes that have 10 pans or more, these are ones that I do count, and I just count the palette, 1 palette, 2 palette kind of thing. So the palettes that have 10 pans or more in them, I had 36 in June, and I now have 30. That's a good sign that I'm buying smaller palettes, or that I'm keeping smaller palettes. Realizing that buying palettes that have more than 10 shades in them is just no. If I want to have a large collection of eyeshadow palettes, I need to buy smaller palettes that have maybe a set colour scheme. Because how many pinks or blues or greens or browns do you actually need? Not 662 of them, that's for sure. So that is that. So I'm glad that my larger palettes have decreased in that. Setting sprays, I had 3 in June, and I still have 3. I used up 1, I purchased 1. It's same old. Not too bothered about that. And nail polishes, the other big category that takes me forever. Do you know, I count all of my makeup in one day, except for my eyeshadow pans and except for my nail polishes. It takes me 3 days to take my makeup inventory. 1 day to do my nail polishes, 1 day to do my eyeshadows, and the 3rd day to do everything else. Nail polishes. In June, I had 312 nail polishes, and now I have 309. I used up 3. They were 3 minis. I used them up. I was really happy, but I really need to get that down. And I am doing a project that I started while I was incapacitated back in November, where I am trying to use up, or not trying to use up, but trying to use every nail polish in my collection. Trying to find the dupes, trying to find which ones I don't like the colour with on my skin, or don't like the formula or whatever. And I'm basically doing a little project. I have this little book here, and as you can see, I write down the names of the polishes. I do 1 polish for each fingernail, so I can try 10 at a time. I know people are going to say, oh, you could also use your feet and get 20 done at a time. I don't do feet. Let's just leave it at that. And then I decide whether it chipped, so that's like a no-no for me. But also if I want to keep, haul or pan the shade. And yeah, so I've been doing that. I've got a couple of ones in there, so I've been slowly but surely working through my nail polishes with that, but I do need to continue to work through that to get my numbers down. So yeah, that is my makeup inventory. That's a lot of items, a lot of stuff. Yes, a lot of the numbers have dropped, some more drastically than others, due to that declutter rather than makeup use up. But 2022, I'm on it. I am on it. We are going to do this. I'm going to use more of my makeup. I'm going to justify the size of my collection in 2022. So that is it. That is my makeup inventory. What are your numbers like? Do you count your makeup, or do you just not do that because that's a scary thing for you? Let me know. I'm interested. So thank you very much for watching. I hope you enjoyed it. If you did, please like, comment and subscribe, and I will see you in the next video. Bye.